Okay, we're now going to bring in the textural element that we created in Photoshop earlier. And the way in which we do that is using File, Place. I saved it out on the desktop. So there's my foil texture. That was a grayscale TIFF image. And I'm going to place that in. I'm just going to drag this so that I'm covering that graphic completely. So there's my texture. You'll notice I can't see anything behind it, so I need to use the Appearance palette. Now remember, the Appearance palette is the one that looks like a circle with a dotted line around it. So with the Appearance palette, I'm going to select the texture element. Notice it's highlighted, so it's selected. Then I'm going to go to Opacity in the Appearance palette, and I'm going to change its blend mode from Normal to Multiply. And you can see the texture showing through. I'm also going to drop the opacity level so it's a little more gray. So it's not so much in your face. So I changed the blend mode to Multiply, and I drop the opacity down to about 30%. Your settings may be very different from mine depending on the kind of texture that you've brought in. So I've set that up. The problem is all this extra stuff. I need to get rid of it. And the way in which I do that is using a technique called masking. In order to mask, I need to create an exact replica of the star shape, put that on top of the thing that I want to mask, in this case the texture, and then use the star shape in a sense like a cookie cutter or a mask to hide everything outside of the star shape and only reveal that content which lies within the boundary of the star shape. So it's like making a sandwich. I've got that bottom piece here. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to make a copy of it by selecting it, holding down the Option key, and dragging the indicator up to the very top and releasing it. So you'll notice, bottom slice of bread, we've got the peanut butter, we got the slice of cheese here, which is our texture, and we've got a top end to our sandwich. The next thing that I need to do is I need to select that top path and the thing that I want to mask. So I used Shift-Click. Shift-Click. They're both selected. You can see the highlights on the objects indicating their selected status. And now I want to go to the Object menu over here, Object, and I want to use Clipping Mask, Make. And you'll notice that all the excess has been trimmed off. We go in here, you'll notice that it's changed these things. The original star used to have these paint characteristics. Now it has none. And it's turned it into what's called a clip group. This is the clipping path, and this is the object that it's clipping. Anything that I would throw in there would be affected by this clipping path at this point. So if I created another shape and then dragged that shape into there, it would be affected by that star. Just to show you, I could use my direct selection tool and I could alter that shape. So you'll notice there's my clipping group, and that star, it has no paint characteristics. It has no stroke, it has no fill color. It's just a bounding area that's virtually invisible, and it's just showing whatever content is inside of it. Likewise, I can move the contents. So you'll notice as I drag, it's showing me that big rectangle, and it's showing me its position relative to the mask. So I can move the pattern around, not the pattern, but the texture around. Now here's the thing. I've brought an image in here. Whenever you bring an image into Illustrator, it's usually a good idea to embed it so that when you save the Illustrator file, it will also save the texture file, the image, along with it. So I'm going to embed that image. I want to show you something else, that when you're using the File Place command and you're bringing an image in, all right. You'll see here that there's an option. And the option would be to link that file. If I switch that off and I place it, I should have the option of making that file embed. Linking it means that the original image file will always remain exterior to Adobe Illustrator. This happened to some of you who sent me an Adobe Illustrator version of the first project where you had your headshot image. Because you did not embed that image into the Illustrator file, when I opened it up, all I could see was the text. I could not see your headshot. And that's because the images always remain external to the Illustrator file. Not so because I embedded this one. Now when I save it, File, Save As, I'm going to save an Illustrator version of that. So I'm just going to call it last name underscore first name underscore pattern underscore texture. And I'll just save that. Now I need to blog about this, so what could I blog about? Well, first of all, I need an image of the final product. So I'll just say File, Export, Save for Web, Legacy. So this is an old way of saving. It's going to try and convert you to the new way. I'm old school. I'm just going to stick with Save for Web. What file format do you want? That's up here. And I want to use PNG 24, and I'm going to switch off transparency. That way, white is white, and this doesn't become transparent pixels. I then click Save, and I give it a name. Just going to save it again onto my desktop, save it. So now I've got an image that I can use in my blogging. I've also got the original Illustrator file with the texture image embedded into it. So I've got everything that I need. If I need to go back and edit it and make some changes, I can. So remember that you have access to a Microsoft OneDrive, and so I can access mine. If I go to Microsoft Online, sign into their services, and I put my student number at georgebrown.ca. When I click here, it diverts me to the portal for the school. Put your password in, and then you sign in. I can go to my OneDrive. I could create a new folder for myself and name it after the course. I've already done that. So all I need to do now is just drag my native format file, the .ai version. You can tell it's got the blue graph paper background, and also the image version, the PNG, is here as well. So I'll just take both of those, drag them into that folder, and they're backed up. And that's it. That's enough to know how to do the next project, which is your Hawaiian shirt project. At least to get you busy on the process of creating a pattern.